Hi, how you doing, and welcome back to another video on the channel. What we have for you today is our preview video going into Game Week 11. I'm going to take a quick review of how my team did in Game Week 10 and then talk transfers, thoughts, team selection and captaincy options moving forwards. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. The support has been awesome and we have got a load of new subscribers since the latest wildcard video. Go check it out if you haven't seen it already. Link will be in the description. And we are closing in on 250 subscribers, which might not seem like a lot, but for a small channel trying to grow, it's a pretty cool milestone. So if you can help with that, that would be appreciated. And thank you to all of those who have been subscribing and supporting the channel so far. So let's take a look at how my team did for Game Week 10. And as we get the team on the board, it's kind of the same old story really in recent game weeks of a small red arrow of about 30k. And going into Monday's Fulham versus Brentford game, I was actually on for a small green arrow of about 30k. And I was thinking when I was going to record this video, I was just going to say, well, you're pretty much staying level, aren't you, with a small green arrow of 30k. And I'm going to take the same approach with a small red arrow of the same amount. You know, going down 30k at this stage when the ranks are still quite close, it's not a big deal. Would I like a green arrow? Yeah, it'd look better on the, plus minuses for the season. But overall, as long as I'm staying there or thereabouts, I'm happy with it. And we've managed to get to Game Week 10. And we always said in these videos that get to Game Week 10 and then we're going to review where we're at and set some realistic goals for the season, because hopefully now the rankings, they're going to fluctuate a bit less as the point spread gets increasingly greater as the season goes on. So what would be my aims for the season now at 400k rank? Well, I think at the end of the season I'd like to, at a baseline minimum, finish in the top 500k. And I know that might not seem too ambitious, but that is your minimum thing that I would be happy with, and FPL is increasingly competitive. And I think finishing in the top 500k is still a good season. What would I be aiming for? Well, I'd be aiming for about 100k overall. I think that's a good aim. And the dream would be top 50k. Last season, I finished 25k in the world, which is obviously an incredible achievement. But that season I did spend most of it in the top 100k every game week, and that kind of gave me that foundation to move forward. So if I did want to get that rank again, I probably do need to move into the top 100k or thereabouts sooner rather than later. And you see people, content creators who are doing videos and they're about 2 or 3 million in the world and they're still talking about finishing top 100k, which is great and absolutely achievable. But the point is that if you've got people at that rank at the 3 million mark still talking about finishing in the top 100k, well, there's only 100,000 people who are going to get that ranking. So it makes it super competitive and really difficult to do. So yeah, 100k is the aim, 50k is the dream, and 500k is the baseline. So let me know in the comments what your aims are, what your rank is, and what you're hoping for this season. Now we've reached Game Week 10. In terms of point scoring for this game week, thank goodness for Leif Davis, right? I thought he was going to do a Gabriel. I was really hoping that Leicester City weren't going to score and he was going to get a clean sheet goal, and some bonus points. But they scored in the 94th minute, which is just really how everyone's season is going at the moment, right, in FPL. You hope for it and you just miss out. But when your 4.5 million defender is scoring you 10 points in a game week and is your highest scorer, you can't complain too much. You can maybe complain with the rest of your team not scoring the points, but for Leif Davis, that's a fantastic output for me. And I started him, I didn't bench him, so I was really fortunate to get those points. Gvardiol scored again. I am a little concerned with Gvardiol just because Man City aren't keeping clean sheets, and although he's scoring now, I do question whether he can keep scoring for the whole season. He is someone that I'm thinking of transferring out, but we're going to talk about that later in the video. The rest of Man City players, Foden and Haaland, they're not going anywhere in my team. I know a lot of people are talking about selling Haaland, and yeah, you could get a load of funds from him, if I'm thinking of selling Gvardiol to free up some money. But Haaland just has that huge upside, and he's not turned a bad player overnight. He's getting those chances. So on another day in the last 2 game weeks, Foden could have had a couple of assists, Haaland could have had a couple of goals, and we're not even having this discussion, right? But for me, they both stay. And also, people might be saying, if you're looking at saving money, what about selling Ollie Watkins? But Villa have Palace, Brentford and Southampton in the next 5. And I class him as a premium striker, premium option attacking-wise. And I think he's a really good player. He'll be scoring goals. And he's another one who could have had a couple of attacking returns in the last couple of game weeks. Strand Larsen scored, which is great. We got him in before his price rise. We got him in before other FPL managers did. So we took advantage of those 8 points compared to other FPL managers. which will have really helped our game week. And, the obvious, disappointment at the moment is Kevin Schade in my team. You look at my team and you think, what is Kevin Schade doing there? Well, we brought him in when Visser got injured as a bit of a fun pick at 5.4, 5.3 million. And it's not worked out. He has had some chances, but now Visser is back. He is someone that we are looking to upgrade to sort of improve the team as a whole. So let's take a look at the captaincy options for this game week. And as we get the fixtures on the board, it's important to note that there is no 12:30 kickoff, which gives you a bit more of a relaxing Saturday for FPL. You can browse the team news and listen to a few deadline streams with, a bit more ease, because you're not rushing to sort of get those transfers and decisions made on a Saturday morning. In terms of captaincy, I know it's boring, but me personally, I'll be captaining Haaland again. I think Brighton defence is there to be had, and Man City, they are still doing well attacking-wise, so they are creating chances. I think if they weren't creating chances, it'd be a bit more of an issue, but for me, I'll be captaining Haaland. If you have sold Haaland and you're looking for another captaincy option, I probably wouldn't go for Salah this game week. I'd go for a Spurs player. Now, whether it's Son, Brennan Johnson or Solanke, I think they're all good options. Me personally, I wouldn't be captaining a Spurs player, but that's because I've got previous bias of owning and captaining Spurs players and them not doing it for me. So I've got a bit of a thing with that. But if you remove my bias, if I removed that and I was just giving, genuine impartial advice, I'd say Spurs attackers are a great option for captaincy this game week. So if you've sold Haaland, I would go past Salah and I'd go straight to Spurs. And I would just say, if you've got Solanke, I'd captain him. If you've got Son, I'd captain him. And even if you've got Brennan Johnson, it's a little riskier, but I'd probably captain him as well. Now, in terms of the team for this game week, it's looking okay. We've got quite a few away fixtures. And also, some of the players have tough games like Palmer and Watkins, but your premium players are going to have tough games at times, but they're your premium players and they can probably score against anyone. We've talked about Man City having a good fixture and the captaincy stays on Haaland. Strand Larsen, Southampton at home, and the defence looks pretty good as well. Considering nobody is keeping clean sheets, I'm kind of just not fussed about defenders. I'm either going to play the players who have a home game, or I'm going to play the players like Robinson who have an away game, but I know that Palace, they're either not scoring, Palace specifically, Eze is still out, so that goes down as a lot of attacking threat and creativity missing. So I'm just going to go with that. Your cheap defenders, they can all keep a clean sheet at any time and they can maybe get an assist at any point. But when they're at that price, I think you can only really expect a 1 or 2 points each game week. But that's also what a lot of the expensive defenders are getting at the moment as well. So unless that changes anytime soon, I think keeping hold of those cheap defenders is definitely the way forward. So in terms of the transfer options for me, we talked about upgrading Kevin Schade, but I've got no money in the bank. I've got 2 free transfers and, I could go Kevin Schade to a 4.5 million midfielder and then go for a 4-3-3, but I don't really want to move away from playing 3 defenders each game week because, as we talk about, clean sheets are hard to come by. So what are my options? Well, one option could be, as we talked about, swapping Gvardiol to Aït-Nouri. I've also looked at possibly getting in Rico Lewis as well. I think Aït-Nouri and Rico Lewis are both good options, but Aït-Nouri is a bit of the talk of the town at the moment. Everyone's thinking of getting him in. So it makes sense with Wolves fixtures to take him seriously. We did talk about him on our Wildcard video, how he's the first ranking defender in terms of attacking threat in FPL. And although Wolves might be going to a back 4, he still remains a good option. Now, it does also save me money. So going from Gvardiol to Aït-Nouri frees me up to do Kevin Schade to Semenyo. And you might be thinking, well, that's not much of an increase in price, but I've got nothing in the bank. So I could also do, maybe a Robinson to a 4 million defender and get 0.7 million in the bank there. That's an option as well if I wanted to stick with Gvardiol. But this is what I'm thinking right now. Now, with an international break, I'm also considering rolling the transfer because I think having 1 free transfer in the international break or 3 free transfers really does help with flexibility of my team because you don't know who's going to get injured. Also Aït-Nouri is 1 yellow card away from a suspension, which doesn't put me off, but it's definitely worth considering. I think as well with that Southampton game, if I wanted him in, it would have to be now. But for me, I also still have my wild card. So if I'm making these little changes to my team, Schade to Semenyo, You know, how many points am I realistically thinking Aït-Nouri is going to get? Because I don't think Wolves have kept a clean sheet this season. Is it better off just using the wildcard in a couple of game weeks when there's that fixture swing in game week 12 to 14, and then using free transfers after there? Or should I just use the free transfers now, knowing that I've got that safety net of a wildcard if I needed it, if they don't work out? So these are my transfers if I was going to make a transfer. Freeing up these funds as well leads to game week 14 doing an Mbeumo to Bowen. Now the fixtures under Mbeumo and Bowen are their games week 14, 15, 16 and 17 fixtures. They're not their immediate fixtures. And I've put Mbeumo at 7.4 because that's what I'd get if I'd sell him. Now, Mbeumo is obviously a great player and someone that we talk about quite a lot as an attacking option, but he's not going to be that awesome player forever. You know, Brentford's fixtures are going to change, and whilst I'm definitely not going to sell him now, Mbeumo to Bowen at that point could be a really good option. You know, we know Bowen scores points. We know he sort of plays 90 minutes no matter what. And West Ham, you know, they might have changed the manager. They might have changed form at that point. So that's just what I'm thinking going forward. And I just thought it might be useful for you guys to see sort of where I'm going in my mind in terms of what I'm going to do with that free money elsewhere in a couple of game weeks. So if you're asking me what my first option is, it's probably going to be to roll transfers this game week and just take 3 into the international break, and then just accept that Kevin Schade is probably going to get 1 point again and just take it. You know, and then option 2 is if I was going to make transfers, it'd be these, and it'd either be to Aït-Nouri or Rico Lewis. So let me know if you've got any questions. Let me know if you've got any transfer thoughts of your own, or if I'm missing something with these transfers. If you've got any advice, pop it in the comments as well. Go check out our latest wildcard video. And thank you very much for listening. Really do appreciate the support. Like if you're new, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.